sexual criminal fashions because I'm ahead of the game in fashions.
As being a meaningless way to spend your...
And I'm gonna be wearing my rapist pedophile glasses today. I have a serial killer van and a public masturbating trench coat that I'll also be putting it all together and kind of peacocking, if you will. Because if you want to get pussy, the bad boy look is for pussies. You want to look like a convicted sex criminal. Women love it. Men want to be it. So as long as y'all know that, we can continue. Thank you. All right. And I was blinded by the light. So I thought I had some shit to say. I forgot what I was gonna say, so we're gonna make coffee. And I'm just gonna say weird, crazy shit until I find out what I really wanted to actually say. Hey, Robbins. I have a new member of my family. This is Robbins. Robin. She is amazing. It's my girlfriend's kitty, but it's also my kitty, I guess. And that's cool. But yeah. Sex criminal fashions. The bad boy look is for pussies. Alright. Oh yeah. I was gonna go take you guys out. There's a place on the side of my house, a fire pit and stuff, where I used to do rituals at, like every day. And I went out there yesterday, and there's fucking there are owls out there now. There's two owls that have made like this nest in the ground, and I just thought it was cool that they made a nest right over where I used to do daily invokings and shit of planets, of the daily planet, and of like, the pentagram and all this types of shit. So it was pretty cool. It was I'm like this magical guy, invoking. Instead of like invoking planetary stuff, though, I invoke these two guns. No, owls. Very strange. Guns. Percocets are insane because you can't really find real ones on the street. And I used to do oxycodone 30 milligram pills, which Percocet is oxycodone with Tylenol. The 30 milligram, it's $1 a milligram where I live. And then prices started to climb too. And it was no longer financially feasible to even take pills, opiates at least. These are actually my girlfriend's meds that I'm laying out for her. I take fucking psychological medications. Pretty dope. One of them being better than Percocets, which are what is it called? Adderall? Adderall is fucking amazing medication. legitimately, Adderalls are fucking... I went from not being able to finish any project that I started to having like tons of things and a crazy presence on the internet and like just all types of ill shit. And I could really only credit Adderall with that. Being able to do that. It wasn't because there was something inside of me that just had to be pulled out. Like I legitimately, my whole life got better when I started taking Adderalls and shit. Pretty cool. I would advise anyone to hop on that medication. They're not hard to get off of. They don't give you fucking withdrawals and shit. What's up, Donovan? How you doing, man? So before I hopped on here, I was reading The Secret Rituals of the Ordo Templi Orientis. I forget who wrote it. Very cool book, though. At the very end of it, it gives you what's called the 10th degree ritual of the OTO, which is creating a homunculus. And I have no idea what the fuck it is they do in the OTO. I know it's a sex cult. YouTube strike a channel for the butt spreading video. Not too sure. Did I spread my asshole on camera? I'm not really sure. I don't know what I do. But if I did, that's awesome. Or if someone else did, that's even more tremendous. Oh yeah, anyways, creating the homunculus, I'm sure because the rituals are written by Crowley. I'm sure there's all types of different like breakdowns of like how it's supposed to mean and all this shit. And fucking Aleister Crowley is a truly upsetting person if you don't know anything about like Kabbalah and Gematria and shit like that. Like, and you just start reading Aleister Crowley, the guy. If he wasn't living, like I would have been like tracking him down, like plotting his murder when I started reading Aleister Crowley, because he's that obscure, and he does it because he was an asshole, especially about his OTO shit. The OTO is super lame, super fucking gay, and like I don't really like orders and shit like that. Homosexual, it's like lame as fuck in my eyes, because all I see with when you're doing that type of magic, it's called high ceremonial magic. The goal of it is to ascend and descend in certain rituals in states of awareness and consciousness, and that is like the goal. And after you get to a certain level of like ascension, you start to talk with things that could be described as like God, divinity. And that's what the name of the game is with high magic. But in the Ordo Templi Orientis, it's not like that. It's a lot of sex. It's all sex magic rituals. There's an optional 11th degree ritual that you can take part in where it's homosexual sex, where you get fucked in your ass. Because that's what Aleister Crowley did to invoke the abyss, invoke the crossing of the abyss. He did something that was transgressive to himself, which was, he was a gay man, but because I guess like you see this in Latino machismo culture, and you see this in Victorian era England and probably even today. Like, as long as you're doing the rogering, as long as you're fucking another person, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, if you're fucking a mustachioed dude, it's not really considered effeminate. It's not gay. But if you are accepting a man's penis into your asshole, then it's super gay and you should be ashamed and feel bad about it. When Crowley was crossing he crossed he was crossing the Sahara Desert in Africa, and he brought his magical student with him that he really didn't respect at all, but the guy would do whatever he said, and the guy's name was Victor Neuburg. And Crowley writes in The Vision and the Voice, he was scrying the 38ers of the Enochian system through like a giant sapphire ring, I guess, taking mescaline and eating hashish and getting fucked in his ass inside of a triangle and invoking Karanzan and all this craziness. And it all sounds cool and dandy, and he modeled like an optional 11th degree of the OTO after that, but the OTO ends at the 10th degree. And it's sex magic, and all I can really surmise, dude, is that sex magic it's a powerful way of like invoking things, banishing things, doing all the magical operations that you could literally do just without using anything but meditation and some, ceremonial ritual magical technique. You could get the same results, but I guess it's cooler if you're throwing your cock into somebody, isn't it? Right? Only it's not, because it's under my belief that if you're like jizzing all over the place, you lose vital chi and energy inside of your body. If you're a male, if you're spilling semen all over the fucking place, like it's not a good look. It's not a good way to be. But obviously, and so like I do understand though that it's either abstinence is good or complete and utter perversion, like immersion into the perverse activities that you could do. So you do the most craziest shit or you don't do it at all. It's kind of one of the two extremes. And the OTO likes to use every one of their little degrees that you go up. It's like Masonically structured, but I don't know if like Masons are homos too, dude. But yeah, you lose all your prana, man. But I don't know if like Masons are homos, but like the OTO is evidently structured after Freemasonry. I think Freemasonry is so fucking boring, dude. It doesn't have any juice. It's not fun to learn about. So I hope that they have sex rituals like in their secret little things, because the OTO is supposed to be strictly structured after Freemasonry. But I think that maybe, and also they have 10 degrees. Freemasonry, I think like the York Rite might have 10 degrees, but really they only have 3. So I don't really know about the Masonic roots of that. I do know Mason started the Ordo Templi Orientis and kind of gave it to Crowley. But anyways, I was reading this dude that used to be in it. He published Crowley's paperwork on it, and it doesn't really give you, anyways, creating the homunculus. What you do is, this is what just the exoteric text on the page says. You find yourself a woman that is, a consenting party to this or whatever. You want her astrological natal chart to be of like good standing with Jupiter, the Sun, the Moon, and Venus. the male practitioner should have some good shit in their natal chart with the sun, moon, Venus, and Jupiter as well, I guess. And what a homunculus is according to Crowley, it's a 3-month-old fetus that a human spirit hasn't been, or a human soul hasn't come into the fetus yet. And you do these workings out in the desert, which is why like Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard would do these weird sex cult rituals out in the desert of Nevada and shit. And why Crowley would be like, was using like deserts to, you get into liminal spaces that way in these, in deserts. Also in deserts, it says like in the paperwork, human souls don't really traverse the dead sands. So it's like you want to be missionary with a woman inside of a, let's say you're trying to invoke the spirit of Graphael, the intelligence of Graphael from Mars. You would use the 5-pointed star, so you would draw a pentagram on the ground, and then you would have sex inside of that in the desert, and you would do that twice a day until the woman comes up pregnant, and then you can cut it down to like you start doing other shit, and you start to invoke all the planetary essences into this thing, and basically what you have is something that's guided by the intelligence of the different planets with good astrological. You want to make sure, it talks about making sure that the lady is induced at like 3 months, so you have like a barely formed thing. And I don't know if like this thing continues to grow like Hellraiser style, like in an attic or something, but yeah, I gotta study it. And I really don't, I've been reading Crowley for a long time, and I really don't see how you can misconstrue like at least the 10th degree for anything else besides what it says on the paper. I'm sure that you can say and furthermore and add on shit, but I think it's very straight up. It's called Rituals of the OT. Hold on, let me get the actual, called the Secret Rituals of the OTO. Called the Secret Rituals of the OTO. Here's what it's called. And I believe it was put out by an ex guy that was into that shit, and then maybe was just like cheesed off that Aleister Crowley didn't want to fuck him up the ass or something. I don't know. It's called The Secret Rituals of the OTO. I'll put it into the I'll put it in the Akafollows thing on Telegram. Yes, it's very, very fun. It's very fun reading about those rituals, because when you put it into like context, you had like most people were not friendly to Masonic organizations and ilk like them, like secret societies were really kind of not cool in like the 40s. And it was very, very crazy. It's very crazy to see like these things that were written so many years ago, and it's talking about doing this subversive shit. and not so many words. It's one of like the most direct things that I've ever seen that has come from Aleister Crowley's writings. It was never supposed to be seen by the general public, but yeah, it's called The Secret Rituals of the OTO. It's pretty dope. I've read the book before, and I can say that it is like a very dry read. It's not fun to read, but the last few chapters of it are fun to read because it just gives you like these weird rituals that have been around forever. Fertility rituals have been around forever, and it's basically a fertility ritual, but like in reverse, because you don't want it. You want to get your partner pregnant, but you don't want it to have a soul. You're invoking planetary spirits into this thing, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird, kind of crazy, and it's also, people called Aleister Crowley a Satanist. He really wasn't until I started reading this homunculus thing. But he didn't get the homunculus idea. The word homunculus was a giant thing in alchemy, which is what they would call like golems, I guess you would call that. They were creating things out of like different things, like shit and clay, and it'd be animated by different forces of and energies of the universe. But taking a human baby and doing these things, really not cool. And it's actually the most satanic shit that I've ever seen from like the likes of Aleister Crowley, because he really wasn't like into. He would talk about Pan a lot, and he called himself Baphomet, but the Baphomet is just a great pictorial representation of alchemy. It's the great work. It's the pictorial key of the great work personified, which is what the Baphomet is. It has nothing to do with like the devil and shit. I mean, it kind of does, but it doesn't. All it's representing is man's higher nature and man's lower nature. That's really what it's, with the sabbatic goat and the tits and the phallic symbol of the caduceus, like all that. It's all very amazing artwork to represent something that's like holy, alchemical union, the alchemical marriage. But the homunculus idea is truly like dark. It really is. And if you type in like secret rituals of the OTO book into like just a Google thing, the book is like, it's for free all over the place online. You can read it like for free. There's PDFs of it all over the place. But yeah. I was reading a couple different types of things before I hopped on here. Hey, baby. Welcome. Wild shit indeed, my friend. 1 second.